Good? Already. Yo, what's going on? You are now tuned into another episode of the 3% Show. Today I have a very special guest that was introduced to me by my bros, Ray and D. But more than anything, we have an incredible young lady in the building. Again, this is the 3% Show where I feel that people will tell you 97% of the truth, and that's cool, that's admirable. But the 3% that's unspoken always holds the most truth, no matter if it's good, bad, ugly, or indifference. It is what makes you. So, without further ado, I'm going to let this young lady introduce herself because I'll call her by a different name, but she might want to be civilized. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the world.
Hello, my name is Erica Collins, and I'm here on behalf of my nonprofit, essentially, Arinate Farms.
Absolutely. Now, you're saying nonprofit, and a lot of people have a lot of nonprofits, and like I was telling you, I believe there are great leaders are in our community, but we don't have a lot of platforms. So please break down the nonprofit that you are here to speak on because you have an event coming
February 28th.
All right. Go ahead.
So Arinate Farms is agriculture. My emphasis is on youth, seniors, and eventually veterans. Right now, it's heavy on the youth. What the aim is to put food into areas and provide free food and resources to families who are generally considered to be like in a food desert. So, like, I'm in the third ward area, and when I say food desert, I'm like, can you walk 5 minutes to where you need to get your vegetables and things of that sort?
Absolutely.
And no, we can't.
Absolutely.
And we're in the heart of the city, so that's like one of my main focuses is doing that. So basically giving back to the community and also health education, encouraging families and the youth especially to grow their own food. You start young, you catch them.
Absolutely. Come on, Queen Sugar. I see you.
trying.
Let me be Ralph Angel outside.
I'm trying.
So, and it's important that you say that because remember outside I was talking, and for me, I think sometimes, and not labeling, not going across the board, but I believe a lot of times when people hear of fruits and vegetables, especially heavy on the vegetables, we think of soul food, collard greens, mustard greens, and you hear so much heaviness and salt into it. But I believe, like, now with my health situation where I have to get healthy, you know, my pastor once told me, getting in shape ain't about looking sexy, it's about meeting the numbers. Now I understand how important fruits and veggies are, especially vegetables and gardening. In the area you're in, you're like a veggie that grew from the concrete.
Yes.
Literally, you're in third ward. How did you get involved into the gardening portion?
So I was in public accounting 13 years, and I was severely stressed out. I started on the client-facing side, but then had the opportunity to get into professional development, business development, eventually operations, resource management. And I was working like 70, 80-hour work weeks. And at one point I was like, my health is starting to get worse. I'm going to end up having a heart attack or something if it doesn't. And it's just because not getting enough sleep. It don't matter if you eat healthy or anything if you're not actually trying to mentally disconnect.
Sleep deprived.
Yeah, sleep deprivation in the busy season and all the changes with, tax laws, tax bills, everything. It just was like one thing after another, and I was just like burnt out. So I just started off at, when I moved into third ward, it'll be 2 years now, I think I've been there in third ward at least. And I was just driving by and I was like, oh, what's this place? And then so I never could catch it. And then I finally caught it on a Saturday because the first Saturday of each month, it's a volunteer month.
Now, what was the place that you were trying
Alabama
to catch?
Garden.
Alabama
Gardens.
Okay.
And so I was like, what is this? And it is like member, but we do volunteer day the first month. The first Saturday of each month. I can't talk. And so from there, I was like, okay, this is cool. And Mr. Terry Gardner is so awesome. He was the one that actually like pretty much established Alabama Garden. Super sweet. And I was just like, okay. And he was like, I'll let you get a bed and let's see. You're on probation. See, like, because you're new. Let's see if you stick to it. And it's been a year, and it was a year in November. And I met who is now my master gardener randomly. He's 2 beds over Mr. Ron one day. He was like, "What are you over there doing?" I was like, "Well, Mr. Terry told me I need to get all the weeds out. I need, pick out all the weeds and stuff to get my bed ready." And he's like, "Well, you're going to be here all year." He's like, "Let me give you some starters." And then from there, it just kind of like, because my grandmother also was a gardener, it just put the two and two together. And then I started to see a huge difference within like the first couple of months in my health in general, because I was like forcing myself to disconnect.
Right. So it's incredible that you went from achieving a goal. And I was going to ask you, how do you feel as a person, as a human being? How does your body react into going from corporate to something that most people would never think of, never fathom, the simplicity of it, to going from getting manicures and pedicures for corporate, and now your hands is engulfed in earth and things of that nature? How does that feel?
It honestly is very surreal, because God is amazing at the end of the day. And it's not every day that you are able to wake up and the things that you're passionate about, it's kind of like, that's my business now. Like when
Right.
I left corporate in June, no one was going to, no one would ever tell me, "Hey girl, you're going to leave corporate," and because this is not what God has for you. He wants you in service. You've been in service in corporate, you've been in service of your family. Now he wants you to be in service of community. And no one would have ever told me that this was going to be my life. And it's crazy at how it's kind of like I hit the ground running, and things have been progressively growing and stuff like that. Even with the current initiative, still trying to find more, trying to get the donors, because I really want to get it going for the school. But
And we're going to get into that too.
but like I even have like a bit more. I have like more of a social life, but my health, 100% better. My vision, like I haven't been having to wear my glasses for the last like 4 or 5 months and stuff like that, because constantly in a screen, working 7 days a week, hand holding and things of that sort. So it's been very surreal. I wake up every day like thanking God, making sure like, hey, I'm humble. I'm not going. I don't want to lose this blessing, And I'm just like, okay, it's gonna be here in June, and you did it, girl. Like, and we're still doing it, but
Absolutely.
it's with passion.
So, and it's important. One thing, and I mentioned this, and I always talk about your day ones, no matter what they are. Those are the people that know you from beginning to end. So sometimes they can be so encouraging, and sometimes they can be so triggering out of love. But when you meet your day twos, they actually accept you for where you are and push you. And it sounds like that's what happened. Your community, that you never knew was waiting there for you, has always been on time. And like you said, full circle moment. You're familiar with gardening. You probably never did it. You probably watched people do it, like your grandmother, and now you are engulfed in it.
Like, in my master garden, we were laughing. He was like, "I remember when I first met you. When I tell you I saw a bug, I would scream." And then now I'm over here trying to chase worms for my chickens. It's just like a Whole Foods, like giving them dry worms and stuff. Like, if anybody would tell, again, I just be like,
Oh, she has the Golden Girls. We're going to get into the Golden
"Yes,
Girls.
my girls,
They just
my
got their jewelry. They bedazzled out.
They got their charm bracelets." Yes.
So, dealing with the gardening,
Yeah.
where's the location where it's at?
So my current initiative, where I am a garden consultant, is Blackshear Elementary.
Okay, pop your stuff. Give
Yeah.
us. So, you're working with the community. It's in an elementary.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Go ahead.
So with Black Elementary, I part-time teach gardening. But in addition to gardening, with those particular students, it's STEM-based. So, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Every component, if you think about it, I think you're able to touch base on that. Like when you think of like technology or engineering, you're thinking like building beds, irrigation, things of that sort. Also like observations, having to go and weigh produce and things of that nature. And then from there, in addition, because of where the students are primarily located, again, like Third Ward is like one of the oldest neighborhoods in the city, and a lot of those
So historical,
yeah,
too.
and a lot of those students, if not all almost, pretty much a part of CUNY. They come from CUNY Homes.
Okay.
And CUNY Homes, it's very large area. There's a lot of families there, and they need assistance. So, but also I've observed there's like a lot of anger management, but I think it's just in youth in general.
Correct.
So the focus too with that is teaching them how to communicate their frustrations.
Absolutely.
Work on their triggers, emotional intelligence, as well as soft skills. And the biggest thing is because when we're in the garden, it's not just, us digging in dirt. It's also trying to teach them certain job skills like project management. Like you have to plan things of that sort. So
Correct.
it's trying to keep it all full circle.
And that's a beautiful thing because I do believe in today's time, we've lost the art, and I'm 47, so I'm older, I'm seasoned. However,
Real season.
seasoned, yeah,
Real
yeah,
season.
all up in here, all up in here, Mrs. Dad seasoning. But I just think it's beautiful because, you have pros and cons. Older generation judges the younger generation, and I love the younger generation because they are opening our eyes to say, why work 40 years at a company when you have your passions you
Shout
can
out
pursue?
to Zinzi on that. I said,
And then
what?
on
They
top
got
of that,
something.
you're introducing these kids to be able to look somebody in the eye, to ask questions, to tell how they feel as far as what they've observed. Not necessarily to say it's right or wrong, but be open for correction, and they can see the proof is in the pudding with what they grow.
Right. Yeah, it's been very transformative because again, like my background is like accounting and and business consultant essentially. So for I've never taught kids before. Like you should see me. I be talking to kids. I'm like I can talk to you about taxes. I can talk to you about some tax planning. But Miss Collins don't know this. Like there's some days I just say, I'm gonna sit in classroom with these kids because they driving the teachers crazy and they need to get ahead on their lessons. Hadn't happened often, but it's been amazing because they've been teaching me to force myself to push myself more because I need to learn how to be able to communicate with that group in a intentional manner where they feel supported.
Absolutely.
So it's like we're teaching each other.
And see, that's what I love about you because ever since Ray introduced us, you've always been intentional. You've always moved to your own beat. You've always been the Freddie of a different world to me, talking about free the brothers, and you're just so nurturing and caring.
Yeah.
So why not be in a position where you're able to actually assist a community, feel safe that your babies are taken care of? You'll most likely be somebody that they remember, but not only through that, you might inspire their parents to say, well, let me get my hands dirty. Let's do this and that because we touched on this. We recently had to freeze. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, it's no problem. Things happen. You eating healthy. It'll happen.
Yeah.
But with the freeze, even when you were like, hey, we have to pick this stuff and we have to get it out before the freeze. And that's so crazy to think that you went from accounting to looking at the weather, talking about, I need to get my product out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the main thing, especially when we get to those certain points, is like when freeze come, we have to get the beds ready. So right now with the current garden, we started out with it was 6 beds. Now that front area is now 11 beds for the main, and there's 2 longer portions on the side. But we're also working on building out the quarter mile. So it's like, well, when the freeze is coming, you kind of got to harvest down as much as you can.
No, what is harvest down?
So
Let's
harvest
explain
down
that portion so
basically
they'll know.
is so when you have produce. So say like when you get collard greens, for example, because that's our thing in our community. Collard and mustard
Get your
greens.
soul food.
I got green
All
beans,
right.
bananas. Sorry. Anyway, so but when you get to that, whatever, like, so you have to harvest down to so many leaves. So it's like what you're cutting back, because the thing is, if you try to keep a full, say like a full mustard green, even though you don't want to eat it, but if it freeze, the freeze is going to come after each leaf essentially. So you want to harvest down to maybe like 3 or 4 at the most, and then cover it. But the thing is when you harvest, you got all these greens. You have those greens, because the beauty also, I think, what the people don't realize is like about gardening is not expensive. But I mean, like, especially when it comes to collard greens and mustard greens, you harvest weekly from each plant.
And see, that's important. Again, I told you I watched that show. It was during COVID, and I was going through life experiences. I think we're all well emotional, right? We all tuned in and tapped into things
in our reality.
Exactly. And I watched some show. I forgot what it was, but it had Paul Wall in there, and they were talking about gardening in the Third Ward. So that was my first thing to say. Let me look at it. And they said something so phenomenal to me that the reason why people garden is because you can never eat what you plant. So you have to share it in a community, and that feeds a village. And when you originally told me, I'm like, you're doing what?
Yeah.
I said, where? And you told me Third Ward, and in my mind, I'm thinking about the spot. I'm thinking of concrete. I'm thinking about the Denny's on the corner. But you told me, I believe we was in conversation, you told me about, hey, you went to look at it and you're like, but what about all this,
Mm-hmm.
all this land? So tell me that story. I mean, break down your vision of what you saw, along with what everybody else is doing also.
Yeah. So whenever I'm driving around any part of the city, but especially Third Ward, there are a lot of like paved areas with no buildings, but there's a lot of grass areas, and I'm like, if I see grass, I want to put a seed in it. So when they asked me if I, hey, you like gardening, you want to teach some kids some gardening? I was like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was in here and I was like, wait, this is fun, but we need a little bit more space. And then we were always going, and I was looking in the back part where they had like some fruit trees, whatever, but it's not enough water, which I'm working on now on the irrigation part of it. But we had like fig trees. There was persimmon tree and stuff like that. And I was like, okay. But it wasn't on my mind. And it wasn't one day till I realized like it was like something about like homeless students or something homeless or some kind of assistance. And I was like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
If they're having issues outside of the school, then we definitely need to make a stronger support inside the school. And then
Correct.
to be completely transparent with this whole initiative, I am not getting any kind of money from HISD for this. They're on board for, those that I'm working with and stuff like that, and just like seeing like what it is that I'm doing. But I know I have to find the money. So this is clearly
Correct.
a passion project where there's a 1/4 mile of space in the back. And I'm like, that is a lot of land.
Unused
That could be-
material that can
yes.
be
And-
flourishing.
right. And I'm like, oh, that is a pretty school fence line, which is a trellis. That's a trellis. And then I was like, we're heavy on focusing on the veggies and herbs and stuff. And I was like, I could probably get them a 50 by 50 mini orchard here in the same area to give them fruits and stuff like that. So what it all boils down to is like, not only is it because the students need assistance, but the goal is in Q2, which is, from March, April, and May, is I want to be able to distribute food to students in their families. It was
Correct.
roughly around 300 students the last time I checked. I don't know what the actual count is.
Mm-hmm.
But the goal is those kids, when they go home, I may not be able to get you chicken, beef, or pork, but you're going to be one of the healthiest vegans, vegetarians, if I have
You'll be
anything
able
to do with it.
add on to something.
Correct, because
Mm-hmm.
it won't be just sending home for that, but it like say some of these kids too, like a lot of them are siblings, so it might be a family of 2, 3, 4. You never know.
Absolutely.
But at least they have something that they're going home to. And the beautiful thing with greens is that you can cook them, and you don't always have to cook them, but they're going to get more than just greens.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to know that, because when we think of veggie, we think of H-E-B. And then if you go to Kroger's, you go to H-E-B, you think of Trader Joe's, you think of all these civilized places, but you have that resource right there every day.
Yeah, and then the biggest thing, what we were talking about earlier, is that
No pesticides, probably.
no chemicals, no.
Mhm. All
Chicken
natural.
manure for nutrients, chicken manure for fertilizer.
That's
but
the high end, right? That's that.
no, it's actually not that expensive, especially.
I'm talking about this high end fertilizer, though.
Oh, technically, yes, it is, but also because there isn't a lot of funding coming in yet, I'm very resourceful. I.e., one of the reasons why I wanted to get chickens, because that's free manure. But with that, whatever I was gonna say is what we talked about, like food sovereignty. So when you go into the grocery store, it's what they give you, and you don't have any control of if it was pesticide free or not, and so to speak. And you're paying more for organic versus like whatever you want to give me. And so from there, it was like, okay, this is going to guarantee that they get stuff that's free of pesticides. We're going to do a lot of companion gardening, a lot of maintenance and stuff like that in general. And when I say a lot, it's not like a lot of maintenance you have to do. You're just spending time in the garden, which is plant therapy. But also, when you go into the grocery stores, it's whatever they give you.
Exactly.
And so for the kids, like what the thing they need to see is like we have 4 different kinds of mustard greens in the garden, for example. And then I want them to see like what purple broccoli is. And because
Purple broccoli.
you
Come
got
on,
pink
man.
and you got pink cauliflower, purple cauliflower. Yes. I want them to experience all of that. And FIFA is coming in June. So our lesson plan this year that I put together that we're doing is FIFA 2026 growing around the world. So they're going to get to
That's
learn.
awesome. That's dope.
Yeah, they're going to get to learn about Africa, Europe, the Mediterranean, Asia, and they're going to learn about all the things in those cultures, but we can also grow in this zone as well.
And that goes back to historical things, like you said. The Mayans are even thinking about how our culture, how we plant seeds in our hair to bring okra over here to the United States. So
I do have some Nigerian okra
you
seeds
are
that will be
you
doing
are
this year.
legitimately teaching history. You're teaching community, and people understand this. And I could be wrong, but I'm gonna go ahead and make it seem like I know. Fresh fruit. We always talk about how our bodies and the food tears up our bodies as young men and this and that. Think of your daughters with healthy food to help stimulate the right things that's not going to throw off their bodies in the long run. Because I believe in being a man is being a man. We stress this and that, but as I was telling you, you have to think about so many mechanics that comes with being a young woman, from the youth
Correct.
all the way up, that can control blood pressure,
Fibroids.
fibroids, you know, all of those things. So this is what you're doing. Let me cop to this one plate,
Okay.
because I know that a lot of people think that gardening, you have to bend over, it's breaking your back. You are doing a different type of garden above land, right?
Yeah, so some of the beds and stuff that we have are above ground beds.
Okay. What's
they're-
an above ground bed?
So essentially, in parts of the city, like I think like in Fifth Ward area, shout out to Savant Moore.
Savant Moore,
He's
yeah.
running for Texas Comptroller. Anyway,
Say that one more time, because I need these potholes. I'm tired of calling dominoes for the no way.
Savant Moore for Texas Comptroller. Anyway, he's running for it, and he is also a teacher. So, yay! But in addition, so like Fifth Ward, whatever. There are certain areas where we can't plant in ground. And then
Okay.
there are a lot of areas in Houston where we have like a lot of clay dirt. Like we can plant like lemongrass and stuff. But what the above ground beds allow us to do is you're able to, one, have those beds lifted, because in Houston or in Texas or where we're at, we flood. So that keeps it elevated to help make sure that the produce is more prolonged. We don't have to worry about flooding and root rot and things of that sort. And then again, for those with back issues, there are different options that could be elevated. Like one of the things I told you in Q2 is because not only are above ground beds amazing, but also so in small areas, like we're in Houston, and even with a lot of this new construction, like I'm seeing these townhomes get built with no backyard. It's kind of driving me insane a little bit, because there's no intention about sustainability. In a perfect world, I don't think any construction or anything or any home should be built if you can't at least do a 2x4 garden in your backyard.
Correct.
You need a little something. You need to be able to have some sustainability
Absolutely.
for yourself. So what above ground gardening does, it creates that. That's what I said in Q2 through my nonprofit. I want to like be able to pick a different family throughout third ward or whatever, as I'm learning more people in the area, and be able to offer them a free grow bag garden.
And that's a beautiful thing, because when you think about it, and for the listeners here who's ever thought about it, we always think that rural areas have all the power. If you want a garden or if you need farming, you have to live in the country. Think of it this manner. If you got into gardening the way she's saying it above ground, it essentially will give you the encouragement that if it's something that you love to do, you don't have to live in the inner city necessarily. It could spark something to make you go buy more land. And I think in today's time, land is more valuable than anything going to the future in today's climate.
And it's so expensive. So you have to be creative. Like, even like what my setup and stuff is, whatever. And I have my greenhouse in my backyard, but it's like you got to be really intentional. And in above ground garden, especially with grow bags too, it gives you a bit more flexibility and it kind of a bit more control. Like, weeding isn't as bad either, and stuff like that with managing it. But and I think it also gives you a stronger sense of confidence when you're getting used to it.
So let me rewind. Let me make sure I hear what I'm hearing. Hold on right quick. So let's recap. You're teaching young ladies and gentlemen in the school district. You now have a community of people. You didn't have to go way out to fund it because it's in your backyard. Most people are not aware of it. You're funding this yourself, so you're open for funding, or if you want to bring people to see more about it, because you're not doing this for yourself. You're literally doing this for the community. From there, the kids have to journal what they see.
Yes.
They have to talk.
Correct.
You have goals that they meet.
Correct.
Also, with these farming above, you're actually teaching them how to build, and then that leads into irrigation.
Correct.
So they're getting life skills.
Correct. And in the biggest thing, because I always say that there's always beauty in the struggle, is they're getting to see something grow and evolve. But it's like you do need money. Okay, you do need money. But in the meantime, like this project that's going on right now, it has to keep moving, whether I have money or not, so to speak.
Correct.
So I have to be creative. I have to get the resources. Like Electric Eats, they were so awesome. They've donated dirt and stuff, and they've been a great resource.
Shout them out again.
Electric Eats,
We
Trey
appreciate
and Sean Lemons, been very awesome or whatever. Even like with Mr. Ron with Harlem River Farms, who I do my apprenticeship under. Great resources, but again, there is a lot of demand, but we're only so many people, so it's like, how can we be creative? And so what the kids are getting to see is like, oh, we're growing this out. And when I say we're growing out that quarter mile, we're putting in like 10 to 15, 16 by 18 beds, not small beds. Like right now we have like 5 foot by, I want to say 5 foot by 20 of the 11. And then like there's cute little walkways. Like we want them to be able to go in and not only be in the garden, but make it like a nice trail so that teachers encourage them to pull their kids out of the classrooms and put them out in nature.
Absolutely.
Let them walk around in ground, and things of that sort. That's what I'm working on.
And I think that's beautiful because I am a person that I always tell people, America will show you what they're going to do to you on screen first to see your reaction. So, of course, we love shows like Queen Sugar. I never thought I would watch it, but it opened my eyes to so much and how important black farming is. You are literally setting the precedence that let's not just watch it on TV. Let's not just scream for Rough Angel ladies. Let's not just talk about the women that were on the show, but actually you're planting seeds within yourself to say, hey, I can do this. This is available. So with that being said, I just think it's so amazing on what you're doing. Tell us about any up-and-coming events that you may have.
Yes. So for volunteer opportunities, you can go to the ercollective.com. The tab is EriRene Farms, and I do have my calendar event under the Ways to Engage tab. What we do right now, every second Saturday, there is a current group that comes. I'm trying to expand that to get volunteers for that one.
So that's for next Saturday coming out, right?
Yeah, next Saturday.
Now. I'm going to try to show up. I'll probably be out there.
Yeah, next Saturday. And then our biggest event it's Arinate Farms, a partnership with Harlem River Farms with Mr. Ron McFarland. We're going to be doing an Ennis Street crawl or Ennis Ave crawl. We were laughing because I think one side of the street is Ennis, other. I'm like, we right across the street. This don't make sense. But it's February 28th. So that's going to be awesome for you to come out. And again, the goal with that too is the garden expansion, and also at the Third Ward Multi-Service Center, which is right across the street, which caters to seniors or whatever too. So we also have a garden there. And there's a quick plug. Recently
Let them lead it. Let them lead you.
Yeah, let them lead me. Recently connected with them. They've been super awesome. I'm looking forward to see what collaboration we can do. Riverside Hospital is doing their ribbon cutting, which is another like community-based thing that they're going to offer, which is right across the street from the school too.
Well, that's super dope. Well, I will ask you this. Being that you're in this new space for about a year, seeing that you literally see the fruits of your labors, and we're going to have to bring you on to talk about your Golden Girls. This young lady has chickens now. There are chickens in Third Ward, and I don't mean the rooster that just wakes you up.
No roosters.
These
girls
only. They're trained, except for the one that meets you every day talking about what you got for me.
Trying to jump in my face. Yeah.
But if I can say something, just within the garden there, what is the 3% that you've learned about yourself since you started putting your hands in the earth and decided to do a career change for yourself?
The real ugly truth, I guess, is I've learned that I haven't put myself first before all of this. It was always focused on what the family needed. When it was work, focus on what the work needed. And when I started to do this, I also realized that I didn't know who I was because it was always do what you needed. So it was always like growing up, like since the age of 19, helping like my mom and then with her working and stuff a lot and raising my little sister, trying to get her through college, trying to get my brother through college. And my father got laid off. Like I never really had a sense of who I was. So it's like, honestly, the ugly truth is I didn't know who I was. And here I am like at 40 starting to say, who is Erica and what does she like?
Absolutely.
That was like one of the ugliest things. And then also learning how to be selfish because I could be too nice, but I am Gemini. Once I give you so many lifelines, guillotine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not being selfish, it's just being real with yourself. Michael
Yeah, no
Basin once
boundaries.
said, you can lie to anybody in the world, but you can't lie to yourself.
Right.
Because when you lie to yourself, it eats you up, and you have to hold yourself accountable. And I'm a huge advocate in saying sometimes you got to get over who you think you are to find out who you
Yeah.
truly are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're coming to the end of the show. Is there anybody that you would like to shout out? Shout out to Young Money, baby. Go ahead.
Yes, I know Yvette. I love her so much. She's so awesome. Hopefully we'll have some cackles in the future. We're working on some things right now, but I just want to shout out to you. Thank you for letting me come out and talk about my cause.
Anytime.
Mr. Terry Gardner of Alabama Gardens, he was the first one to let me in that gate. And Mr. Ron McFarland of Harlem Farms, he is a phenomenal resource as Uncle Ron.
Come
He's
on.
also an alpha.
well,
but he good people. He good people.
well,
okay?
I mean, and then there's that.
Yeah, and then I mean, even to the Principal Brown and assistant Principal Woodson and my coordinator Ms. Kenya Lanier, they've been so supportive, and even those who I'm building connections with through HISC, just at least have them in support so they can see what's being done.
Absolutely. And shout out to that entire community where this is going down, because I believe that if we continue to allow good things happen in our community, we can build upon it instead of breaking it down. So I truly appreciate that. I appreciate your grandmother for setting the seed even before you knew it was there.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that connection and the full circle moment, and that you are healthy and you are smiling and you are doing the most for less now.
Yes.
That's it. So again, this is another episode of the 3% Show. I believe that's a wrap.